you all into Coronavirus Inside the Arizona Numbers. It is Thursday. That means we get a lot more information from Maricopa County, right down to the zip code. So we can see how your zip code looks, even how your school district looks. Be sure to provide that where you are in the comments, and we'll look up your particular neighborhood for you. But Garrett, how do things look overall when we're glancing at that map?
Things are looking really good. Virtually all of the rural areas of Maricopa County have flipped to minimal transmission. In fact, almost the entire metro at this point is considered at least minimal to moderate. You can see we have 2 zip codes here in the Sun City, Peoria area that are in the minimal transmission now, 85387 and 85375 are both in minimal. You can see now the moderate transmission is here. So obviously these green ones, these minimals, are all over the place. But as we all know, since we've been here for a while, if you have been here for a while, you know that these are very low populated areas. It's these yellow zip codes where people live. And you can see that the vast majority of Phoenix and the metro area is already in moderation, with the exception of sort of these small areas near Sky Harbor, and then south, west Phoenix, and then the Salt Pima reservation. My apologies. Those are still the only places left that still have minimal transition. So people are going through some zip codes, so I'll start to try to fire through some of these a little bit. I'm probably going to mess them up a little bit. That 85375 is 85735. I don't think I have that because I wouldn't have an 857. 5226. That is a moderate transition at this point. Yeah, it looks like for let's go to another one. If you don't live in Maricopa County, please don't put your zip code in because So this is Gilbert, and this has minimal from last week and then moderate from this week, so it's considered moderate. And then let's see who's next. 85254. That sounds like a Scottsdale zip code. It is, yes, and that is look, it's like the percent positivity is about 6%, so it is moderate. Pretty good numbers there for that zip code. 323. That's going to be over down here. People ask about the code all the time. It is still moderate, but it's still considered virtual. This is because the positive over 7%. For even though this, it does have a percent positivity compared to some of the other. Okay, let's keep going here. 85205. I may go through these more than one time. This is a good zip code, under 5% positivity, high case per 100, or at least a moderate. 8525. This is again, this one should flip to minimal at some point. These North Scottsdale, very loose districts, will probably flip to minimal. 85023, again, very low percent positivity, very low. This is per 100. Should flip to minimal in a couple weeks. I would not have, I would not have an 857 301. And that's Glendale. This used to be one of the most impacted districts in the city, the zip codes in the city. As you can see, it's gone down pretty good. It's still under virtual because it's got that 8% positivity, but it's moderate now. It's as you can see, it was on the cusp. It was red last week. Now it's moderate. So I think I just did 85301. That's funny. 85298. 85298 is Gilbert, and it is moderate, pretty much minimal that far south. Should flip in the next couple weeks. 85202. This one has very minimal percent positivity and fairly low. This Mesa district will probably flip to to green in the next couple weeks. 85388. This is looks like it's already a rural zip code. Yeah, this will flip to green probably in the next couple weeks too. In fact, it's already next to a district that's already flipped to green. 85027, Deer Valley, also looking like this should flip to green in another couple weeks because of the low case per 100. And this, of course, always presumes that there won't be a change in direction whenever I say in the next couple of weeks, because if for some reason cases start to increase, then obviously, things won't flip. So just wanted to make that clear. This one is a nice solid 6%, just under 7%, this 85020. I would not have an 84142 most likely. Nope, I didn't think I would. I only have Maricopa County. 85037, here's a red one, folks. This one does have a high percent positivity, 13%.
Wow.
Cases per 100K is under the threshold of substantial, so this just has to go down. See, there hasn't been a lot of movement in the percent positivity in the last couple of weeks, so it's kind of hard to tell how long it's going to take for a zip code like this to go to moderate. It's just difficult to tell because we don't get any data outside of the zip code. I mean, we only get Maricopa zip. Maricopa.
Yeah, we're lucky to get this information. And I want to remind everybody, there's so many zip codes that are coming in. If we don't get to your zip code within Maricopa County, the address is right there on the screen. So it's www.maricopa.gov/schools dashboard, and you'll be able to drill down to this information. One other note, we usually can only bring you this information on Friday because it's updated on Thursday night. But Garrett, we were lucky enough to already have an update. Obviously, we're on a little later today than most Thursdays because the governor was speaking just before us here. So we're about an hour later. But by chance, by luck, we're able to look at this for this week for everybody here.
Yes. So all these 85031s, all these are 85035, 8500943. This is the West Phoenix block. As you can see, just this collection of zip codes right here that are still insubstantial. If you go to these zip codes kind of on the outskirts, like this one in Glendale, 85307, it's already plenty low on its percent or its case per 100, but it has a fairly high percent positivity. This zip code right next to Luke Air Force Base should flip back to moderate. However, if you go to one of these cores like 85035, in fact, this one actually should flip next week.
Yeah,
let's check this one. This one, again, good case per 100, but it's that percent positivity of 13.5 that has to go down. So we'll see what happens with those because I do not have Beverly Hills, but very funny Mike Woods.
I saw that. So once again, it's just in Maricopa County. We had everywhere. I saw some other places too, all across the country. Check into if your state does this. If you're watching from somewhere else, we're lucky that this particular county does it here in Maricopa County, the most populous county. But outside of that, we don't have this drilled down information for both schools and zip codes.
Yes. So so we're gonna. That's pretty much a good run of the zip codes there. You can see basically two pockets of red. Near Tempe, we talked about this from ASU and its bounces. ASU was yellow last week. In fact, I'm looking at the other map as well on another screen. 528 and 85282 were both yellow last week, and they've both flipped to red based on the ASU bounces we saw last week. In fact, all of those, well, this one was red. 85040 was red last week. So this one's going to switch. Now, we haven't seen any additional bounces, a movement from the week from this week so far. So we may be sort of looking at in the clear for the codes going forward. But just for now, you can see pretty much Metro Phoenix. This one in North Mesa, 85203 is still red. As I said, the Salt River, Pima. I mean, look at that cases per 100. Let's talk about an area that was hit so hard by the pandemic. 337 people per 100 people. That's incredible for such a small and as anyone who's ever driven through Salt River, Pima, you know it's a very rural portion of Maricopa County, and look at those numbers. They're just so high. So, that's very, you got to think about, how hard that area was hit by the pandemic. And you don't see anything like that in the rural districts. And this one, Fort McDowell, you see it's zeroed out for this last week, and it still has an extremely high cases per 100. But so those cases, because those areas are so rural and they're still getting hit pretty hard, they're probably going to be red for some time.
Yeah.
Sorry, so, it keeps going off.
That's okay. You're popular right now. So as we look at this zip code map, remember, your particular address could have a different story based on zip code versus school district. So if you're like me, I'm in a zip code that goes one direction, and I'm in a school district that goes another direction. So it's worth checking both. But wow, look at how yellow that map is now.
This is so. I'm pulling up last week's map too. I can't. I can show you this map, but let me just pull it up from my side to see what's the difference between the two maps. So this is the unified map. And I'm going to look at here to see what is now. So Mesa last week was virtual. even though it was considered yellow, it was still a virtual district. You can see this week it is flipped to a fully, at least recommendation is fully hybrid at this point for that district. It looks like all of the other districts, the unified districts, there have been no changes. This one was orange. This one, so Peoria was orange last week. It is now full yellow. And then this one as well. Nottaburg was hybrid, was virtual last week. I do not have Casa Grande. Sorry, Concha. And Nottaburg was orange. It is now yellow. And then this one as well. Dysart was in the orange last week, where it was still considered, even though it was yellow, it was still considered virtual. Now it is moderate. And then just to show what ASU did, you can see the entire city of Tempe and Buckeye. Buckeye also flipped to red, but you can see the city of Tempe has flipped to red based on that incredibly high new cases per 100K people that they received this last week from the ASU bounce. So they're going to be red for at least another week or so because of that. Oops, sorry, I pushed the button. I didn't think I put. And you can see, like, for example, Buckeye, even though it flipped to red, it only flipped to red by a 2/10 of a point, essentially, a quarter of a point over 10%. So really, that should flip back on next Thursday. Let's look at the elementary school districts. The elementary school districts, the changes, I'm looking to see if there's changes. The changes do come in the Tempe area right here. This is now a moderate. It was red. All of these are now, this one used to be, this is the Balls Elementary School. This was a moderate district. It's now flipped back to virtual. But again, this is because of the ASU bounce. This is all the stuff you have to, sort of put into context. And then the other district that was hit pretty hard is, of course, Tempe Union High School was thrown back into virtual as well, at least the recommendation.
Yeah. Okay, so when we should go over the other two red spots on this map in the high school district, and then we can move on to some of the other counties.
So this is Tolleson High School. Yeah, this is Tolleson Union. And you can see Tolleson Union has been red for quite some time, but they had a really good most recent week. And they should be in the yellow next week if everything continues on the same trajectories. And then Buckeye is sort of in the same vein. You can see there was the percent positive did increase in Buckeye. Ironically, this could have something to do. I think there's a correctional facility in Buckeye. I could be wrong, but the Department of Corrections did do a lot of testing the last couple of weeks, and that could be what's impacting this percent positivity. But it appears that they're probably going to be red until not next Thursday, but the Thursday after, because I believe reds have to drop off in order to be considered back to yellow.
I want to get to some of the questions. Tanya's asking, so if I'm in a moderate area, why are they opening schools? So the moderate level means that they can move to hybrid, which would give you the option to either be at school or stay home just based on your own comfort level or your own health level. So if you are in a moderate area, they should at this point be offering both, Tanya. You can also check on abc15.com/schools, and we've got your school district's plans listed right there, so you can check it out. And then Mindy's asking, why is Mesa Public Schools not on this map? So I think at that moment we were up on...
We're on the other map. Yeah, there's Mesa right there. Mm-hmm.
So, oh, you got it highlighted for her.
Yep, that's Mesa.
Wonderful. So, so Mindy, just keep in mind, we have kind of a weird breakdown of schools here in Maricopa County. We have the unified schools, and then we have the, why am I forgetting the word?
The elementary school and high school districts.
Thank you. The elementary school districts. So what you're seeing here highlighted, that's the unified school districts, and to flip to the other one, that's why you're only seeing some of the other ones. So that's the difference in that.
Yeah, that's the high school districts, and there's the elementary school districts. So you can see there's a kind of a correlation between elementary and high school districts sort of exist in the core, sort of urban core of the city as well as the Southwest, and the unifieds are pretty much a phenomena of the East and the North Valley.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And Tanya's responding, they aren't doing that here. Tanya, they aren't doing the hybrid, or they're not doing letting you take classes at home. Let me know the answer in that. So, and then Brenda's asking another really good question. Garrett, we don't have to flip off the graphics for that to flip over to the other one, but she's asking about the RT number. We don't have to flip to that, but is that a concern today, or why is that not a concern at this point?
So the RT, as Brenda said, the RT number is over 1 today. It's 1.03. However, the reason I'm not too concerned quite yet is that the last couple days have had a tremendous amount of backfilling from going on at the Department of Health. So they've been adding, like, for example, yesterday, 40% of the cases that were added to the curve came from cases that were over 2 weeks old. Today, it was 30%. So what this does, when they're adding these positive to the curve and they're not having corresponding tests, it really makes our percent positive, the one that is being used to calculate the RT, it really pumps that number up. So today, for example, I believe our percent positive was, in this respect, 13%, even though we're still in the 4% range.
Mm-hmm.
We get these sort of blips all the time with our RT number. And this happens to all, we've been going to this site for quite some time, and you can see this does happen a lot just based on where the movement is from all of the other states as well. You can see, like, for example, today, and again, I'm just speculating this is happening in West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just go to it really quick so everyone can see what I'm talking about. West Virginia's number is 1.46, and it's fully above the error bars. Now, I don't know if that's because there's something happened, or because, like I said, it could be similar to what was happening with us, where the university just dumped a whole bunch of tests on the system, and it overwhelmed the formula and caused it to push up to where it is. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to stay there, but this has happened before, where backfills happen that gives a very high percent positive. This particular formula assumes everything reported that day. There's a little bit of something out that goes on, but for the most part, it has to rely on these formulas, or these percent positives and these case increases. And if they do a lot of backfilling, it can mess with the number. So I'm not super concerned quite yet. You know, we'll see what happens over the next days, especially as we get farther away from Labor Day. You know, we should start to see this number to stabilize a little bit more.
Okay, and as we look at that, can you highlight where Arizona is? I know that.
Here's Arizona. Arizona was. I pulled into the other site, but let me. I usually darken my screen for everyone for this, so you can see it. And you can see Arizona's right here at 1.03 with a range of 0.79 to 1.2. It's, you know, as of right, just because of those couple days we've had, you know, now we're pretty much in the top third of the states right now. Mm-hmm. But again, I just wanted to point out those sort of wobbles we've had at the reporting level here by the AZDHS the last couple days, and that can cause this number to fluctuate pretty aggressively.
Yeah. Brittany Lynn writes, my bonus kiddos school district Paradise Valley sent out surveys to the parents asking their thoughts on going back to full classrooms or hybrid or staying virtual. Yeah, Brittany, that's what we're seeing a lot, is the school districts that haven't gone back yet are going ahead and sending those surveys out. My kids are still going to school in the next room here, so that's pretty much the same thing that they're talking about for their school district too, trying to feel what the parents are interested in. Okay, so we did have some enforcement happening at ASU. They said that if you're breaking the COVID-related rules on campus, you are going to be suspended. We learned of 6 students getting suspended. We know that 4 were for situations off campus, 2 were on campus. But just to update you, they're going to stay strict about making sure that they enforce this and that they don't see a spread on ASU's campus that also spreads out into the community as well. Those updated numbers, Garrett, from ASU at least, it seems that we're getting them on Mondays and Thursday nights. So as soon as we get some updated numbers from ASU, we'll pass that along. We spent a lot of time on it yesterday, but I think one of the big highlights people are interested in is that they're now giving out the cumulative numbers as well.
Yeah, they're giving us cumulative with the actives, so that way we can at least track what's coming in and what's going out, which is sort of the way, it's just the best way of doing it. You know, it's so that there's no question of, you know, if the transmissions are growing and you don't have a cumulative number, it's difficult to tell because, you know, especially in an area like ASU where it's 18 to 24 for the most part, and you've got a lot of people that recover very quickly from this thing there, and so it's difficult to track sort of how many what the rate of transmission is. This is similar to this RT number. You can't track this RT number unless you have a who's coming in, who's going out. So they're giving it now. It's the best way of doing it. I like seeing active cases, especially in a place like ASU, where the recovery times or the active case time, excuse me, are going to be much faster than sort of the general population.
Yeah, I mean, in any arena, more numbers are better. We can have better perspective, and we can help people understand what all this means. All right, we drilled down to the zip codes in the school districts. If you all want us to get back to that, we can move back over and get to that. I do want to highlight one thing though before we do. Early in the day on Thursdays, we always get the updated outlook for counties based on meeting the benchmarks overall for schools and meeting the benchmarks at each point, at each level, 3 different levels for businesses. So with schools, you obviously know, as we've covered, Maricopa County has made that benchmark. That was one of the things people were waiting for to hear. The schools who have not include Gila, Graham, Mojave, and we were watching two very closely, Garrett, that being Santa Cruz and Yuma. So how did they look for today? And then we have to talk about Pinal County, because double stars next to it. What does that mean? We'll dive into it and talk about that. And it's important for everyone to watch Pinal County, because there's a lot of questions about what's going to happen if schools go back above that. So we'll address that.
So, okay. So yes, let's go through this. Yuma is still, as you can see, they didn't make their percent positivity. They had a slightly higher than normal percent positivity this last week, so they did not make it. And then where are we? We're also at Gila didn't make it. Graham didn't make it. Santa Cruz is fully yellow at this point. So Santa Cruz, and this is incredible, Santa Cruz was one of the hot spots back in July. And here they are in full moderate status. Pinal County, this double star says, if you can't read this, I'll just read it. Due to the county previously meeting benchmarks to move to hybrid education, they are still considered to be in the hybrid category. So let me explain why they have an X there. Their cases are now at an X, which means they are above 100 new cases per 100,000 people. And the reason they're above that is because they did a lot of corrections testing in this week that's being evaluated. There was a lot of corrections testing going on, and that really pushed their caseload up. But the AZDHS has chosen to say, if you do hit a red for 1 week, we're not going to evaluate you into the red unless you make red that second week as well. So you have to have 2 consecutive weeks of red to be reevaluated as substantial.
Yeah, so this is a question we kind of got a lot over the last few days or week or so. What happens if then you go back up into a higher category, say for your school district or your ZIP, or as we're looking at here, whole entire counties? And one of the things that AZDHS had listed out, and I double checked this with our reporter Daniel Lerner, who's on the education beat, is if it's a percent positivity that goes above 9% or higher, once again, that is the point where they're going to start having conversations with the districts about pulling back and resuming virtual only learning. So that is one of the metrics you're going to want to watch closely. Just out of curiosity, Garrett, could we look and see what that percent positivity is for Pinal County, if this is just a fluke or if this is getting us a little closer to that 9%?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'll pull it up really quick just on my sheet here. This was, of course, using. See, I've got the school and the work dashboard pulled up, and that always kind of throws me for a loop here.
Yeah, and just to let everybody know, we'll get to the business ones as well.
Yeah, but on August 16th, so they had originally made it, but then on August 16th, the week of August 16th, they had a 106 per 100K case number. And again, when you look at that on when you look at that on the laboratory testing sheet, for example, you can see just in fact, I'll share it just so you see what I'm talking about. You can see just a massive number of cases being put into Pinal County on that week, and that's what caused this case number to go up. So here I already have Pinal County highlighted, excuse me. You go here, you can see this is the peak right here of the actual pandemic, is this June 23rd to June 2nd, and this is the amount of tests, diagnostic tests, and you can see just right here, just an exponential amount of tests being put into the system for the week of August 16th and higher. Pardon me, I sneezed. And that's what caused the case numbers to go just to bump up as high as they did. Even though the percent positive wasn't that high, it a large number of positives. It's just the case numbers were so high. The percent positive number wasn't that high, but the number of cases that 2,000 tests brought in a day definitely just increased their numbers. So this is definitely Department of Correction testing in that Florence prison complex. And that's what caused them to go up. And so AZDHS is saying, we're not having you reevaluate to substantial because of that.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why looking at 2 weeks of data is so important there. And one of the things we were talking about early on when everybody was waiting for businesses to open are they going to look, why don't they look at this day to day to day? And we had to explain the anomalies and the quick changes in the day to day would have you opening and closing your business left and right, and calling employees back and sending them back home again. So let's talk about businesses. We have three categories for businesses. We have minimal, moderate, and substantial. And over the last week, we only had 2 in minimal, that being Greenlee and La Paz. We had 3 in substantial, Gila, Graham, and Yuma, and then everybody else of the 15 counties in that center group of moderate. Did anything change this week? It seems like they're all within the same categories.
No, nothing changed this week because was it Yuma? I think it was Yuma that, if you look at Yuma, sadly, Yuma missed changing from substantial to moderate by 1/10 of a point.
Wow.
So you can see that 10.1, they had that just a much higher percent positive on the week of August the 23rd, and it was just over 2%. And so it threw them into, even though they were on track to being this week, that 10.1 threw them out of that running, if you will. So Yuma is going to have to wait at least 1 more week and probably 2 in order for it to be considered moderate. So sadly, I know we sort of gave the people from Yuma some hope that they were going to be put into moderate, but it doesn't look like it's going to be the case. And again, Gila is on track to being recalculated next Thursday. This is what's holding them up, this August 16th, cases per 100. As you can see, this last one was fairly low, and I haven't seen any increases to this effect for this last week, the following week after August 23rd, the August 30th week. So they're probably going to be fine. And then what was the other one? I apologize, Graham.
Graham.
And Graham is in the same vein. You can see Graham may be in yellow next week as long as they don't have an extremely high percent positive because their case per 100 is very low. I don't think there's a correctional facility in Graham that's like a large one. So that wouldn't, there's really no way to see this thing going back up unless that percent positivity goes up to 10%, which can happen because especially in these lower counties, these smaller counties, because you get a small block, a cluster of people that are sick, and even if they're quarantined properly, it's still going to push you to 10%.
Yeah. Well, we will continue to give folks a preview. I know we wait for Thursday's official numbers to come out, but it's always great to peek at it, and we'll do that for all of you again next week. We haven't done the summary page yet, and as you pull it up, I want to say you are so welcome, and thank you so much for the comment, Alice. Alice writes, thank you both for keeping us up to date on information. I know you get a lot of people who always have mean things to say, and you're honestly just the messenger, so thank you. Alice, that means so much more than you know. So thank you for that. And we want to do this. We've been doing this all summer because we found that we were looking at these websites a lot longer than everybody else, and we knew our way around it faster, and we could teach and show you guys where to find this information so you could make the best choices for your friends and your family. So we are happy to welcome you in to answer your questions. All right, on our summary page today, it seems like we're kind of hovering around right now about on a typical day, like not counting weekends, Garrett, like about 500 new cases a day.
Yep. It's about 500-ish new cases a day right now, which is a good sort of 20% step down from where we were the last week because of again the ASU bounce we had. But we're looking at let's see what our percent positive is today. It was 13.2, and this is what I was talking about. These 461 cases. These about 30% of these cases were added. They're about 2 weeks. They're older than 2 weeks, about 30% of these cases. So that sort of will increase your percent positivity, because these tests, almost all these tests were taken in the last couple days, like 3 or 4 days. But again, the cases added without corresponding tests added at the same time, it pushes the percent positive up. And that's why we had such a high one today.
Okay. And also adding on 22 deaths, were most of those recent?
Yes, 22 deaths. You can see our totals here, 207. If you look you can see the probable versus non-probable. They think that there's only about 1% of these cases are probable cases, and then these deaths, about 5% are considered probable right now, and the total being 5273.
Okay, and 17 of those deaths coming in Maricopa County as well. We just heard from the governor just a matter of let's see, an hour ago, updating everybody on the situation in Arizona, but also talking about suicides in Arizona, telling us it's Suicide Prevention Week as well. And obviously this has become a hotter topic right now with everything that's going on with COVID, because people are feeling so much stress and so much sadness. He did update a few things as it relates to COVID, but one metric or number that we learned from the state, that there were 1,500 suicides in Arizona in 2019. Obviously, those numbers aren't out yet for 2020, but it's just a reminder to take absolute care of your mental health. And as I always say, log the number right into your phone for help. You can call the 211 number that we've talked about on here for the COVID response, but also for suicide prevention as well. So 211, that statewide number, is the number to call. And remember to stay socially connected through all this. So often we talk about staying home, it's the safest thing, but also making sure to take care of your mental health too. And they also highlighted in that meeting that more than 1,600 businesses have signed that I'm going to say it wrong now, attestation form. Oh my gosh. And that they are opening up once again. Oh, thank you to producer Josh for adding that Lifeline number on there. So important. Put it in your cell phone, put it in your kid's cell phone as well. Margaret writes, check on your friends. Absolutely. I post a lot about that on my Facebook page, checking on friends and family and those you love. The other thing they talked about, Garrett, is making sure to get your flu shot, and that the campaign called Roll Up Your Sleeve will be rolling out in the next week to really push people to get out there to get vaccinated for the flu, because they don't want to see an increase in numbers in our hospitalizations as well. Those, though, Garrett, have been looking really good.
They have been looking very good. But of course, if you start putting increases in influenza numbers on them, they may not look so good at some point. But
yeah,
so far, they look really good.
Yeah, and we'll be able to separate those out, it seems, because they're going to be giving us more information per an executive order on the number of flu cases here in Arizona, especially those that are hospitalized, those who are put on a ventilator. We don't often think of people getting the flu and being put on a ventilator, because most people just get it and recover at home. But those numbers do exist, and they'll be coming out for us. We'll be able to pass them on to all of you as well. But about 10% of people, Garrett, who get COVID-19 are ending up in the hospital.
Yeah, that seems to be about the situation right now. As our numbers are concerned, the ones that are reported, our bed counts, we're seeing slight increases in the overall census. That's not the actual COVID patients. We're seeing across the board today, we had increases in inpatient beds, ICU, emergency room visits, ventilators. I think a lot of that had to do with the holiday weekend and just other things that could happen during that time. Because if you look at the COVID-19 numbers across the board, and I'll go to them really quick, there might have been, I think there were a couple increases, but the increases were ever so slight. Here's the inpatient number. It's actually smaller. It's lower. It's continued its descent. The ventilator number, as we've talked about, is still one of the lowest it's ever been. It's a little up from on the 7th, but still extremely low. ICU bed numbers, it's one bed higher than yesterday. And then the discharge numbers are a little higher. And then the emergency room department, again, a little higher, but still within that under 900 sort of breaking point that we had. It, as you can see, it took us weeks to break 900, and then it took us a couple weeks to break to 800, and now we're under 900, which is great. So we'll see what happens in that point. And then the intubations went up a little bit as well today too.
Okay, and as I always say, we'll keep watching that. Cindy, I see you're joining us on here. Thanks for your comment. I also want to check in with you and make sure that you got to see your loved one who's in I think, an assisted living home right now. So let us know, update us if you will, if it's not too private, that you were indeed able to see them. I know that was a stressful point, and I want to make sure that that connection was made and check in on you. If you are wondering if you need a COVID-19 test, if you're feeling a sore throat or any of these symptoms, we want to remind you the site that you can go to is doineedacovid19test.com. We put it right there, or actually you read it this way. I think I'm seeing it backwards on the screen. They'll ask you a couple of questions about what type of test you prefer. I did the saliva test a few months ago. You can also do the nasal swab or other styles of tests, and it's right there on the site. It'll tell you which location is closest to you, times, and all that. Most of them now, you do need to register for a specific time to head over there. They're not super strict on it, but they do want you to register before you head over there. So that's the site to find all of them. I had some people ask me about that ASU test today, that saliva test, and that's the location to find that information. Oh, Cindy's replying, she did. Short, sweet visit, 20 minutes. They stood outside the door to watch us, going every 48 hours for a test so I can visit. Great news, Cindy. Thank you for updating us. I'm so happy that you were able to make that connection once again. I know it's been a long stretch for a lot of people. All right, we have a matter of minutes left, Garrett, and I know we have people who are asking about those zip codes, so we can pop back in there if that works for you. Kind of wrapped up some of the other things for today. We'll have a lot to talk about on a Friday tomorrow, of course, but we can pop in those zip codes for anybody who missed their school district, your zip code, or your city overall. Remember, for schools, we had, as far as the counties go, Gila, Graham, Mojave, and Yuma are still waiting to make the metrics. Everybody else has made the metrics with an asterisk beside Pinal because they made the metrics and bounced back out. That does not mean that their schools need to shut down. It's just something to note, something to watch for those of you in Pinal County. Melissa's asking for zip code 85037. Melissa, we can pull that up for you.
It's right here. It's still in the substantial. It has a fairly high percent positivity. So we don't know when this is going to flip to red. In fact, you see it's actually had a slight increase in cases from last week. So this one could be red for a little bit, Melissa. And then
Kristen's asking for Paradise Valley School District.
Paradise Valley, the school district, I think I looked at that for a moment. It's a union, and it is in the hybrid right there. So, and it looks like it's going to remain there for a while. So here they come. I was waiting for them to start out.
Fast and furious, they're coming in.
All right, 85009, Morena, that is looks like it's substantial, but it does appear that it's on track to be yellow next week. So it's a zip code with a descending, the rate is lowering.
So Morena, remember that it doesn't update till Thursday, so you don't have to check it back on Monday and Tuesday and whatever. Thursday afternoon, late afternoon is when you want to check it, and you'll get an update.
85051 right there. This one that's pretty good. This is a zip code where it's lowering as well. 42, sorry, I don't know if I have that one. Yeah, I don't have any 855s. Sorry, I keep making that mistake.
That's okay. And I'll remind Jorge, I wish we had that information. It's just outside of Maricopa County, and we're only lucky enough to get these deets specifically from Maricopa County.
85353 is substantial right now, but it does appear that is from last week, so it should be calculated into yellow if everything continues by next week. 86. 85286, Chandler. Oh, the airport. Yeah, that's a pretty low number here. We're looking at a very low percent positivity, a declining case per 100. So that zip code's in good shape. 086. This one is, let's see, Anthem. Yeah, this is also, it's just over 7%. In fact, it had an increasing case per 100. So this is, I guess I'd put this zip code on a zip code to watch list. It should be fine, but still the numbers are a little concerning that they're going up. So we'll watch it for next week.
Was that Micah's zip code that you just did?
Yeah, that's the Ben Avery shooting range zip code, if that means anything to anybody. 85212, this is Mesa, East Mesa. very much a declining case per 100 and percent positivity. So yay for East Mesa.
Yeah, they look to be getting almost to the green category straight up. Wow.
Gilbert, and this is also, you can see actually a slightly increasing percent positive for this area of Gilbert. It's gone from 24 to 32 with a slightly higher percent positivity. 5338. This is, yes, this one is, you can see, still has a virtual guidance for this one, 55, but it is and it's actually an increasing percent positivity as well. So this is also a zip code to watch. I'm not going to have an 8-6. Sorry, Melody. 85209. I think I may have just looked at that one. Oh, wow. No, I didn't. This one is, I mean, look at that percent positivity, almost 1%. Yeah. So this is a pretty good zip code. They're going to be just fine. And that's pretty much the case with almost all the East Valley zip codes at this point. 8532 is another red one. You can see this one, sort of an interesting situation here, Lissa, where the case per 100 is now fine, but the percent positivity increased from last week. So it sort of flipped its metrics. So I have no idea where this one's going to be next week. It could be yellow. It could be red. We just don't know. 85234, that one is, let's see. I know that zip code very well. That one is, you can see an increasing percent positivity as well as an increasing case per 100. 85251. This is Scottsdale. Slightly, again, increasing numbers. Again, I would attribute this to ASU a little bit probably because it is, this is a South Scottsdale district and a lot of students live here. So I would attribute those increases to ASU. 5298. Katie, just stop me when it's time to stop.
I will. It's a matter of minutes left, but this is great. I know a lot of people have questions. Dion, we don't have Yuma. I wish we did. Remember, you're still in the substantial category overall for schools. So we'll have to wait for Thursday for anywhere in the entire county to make it, but we won't get this drilled down information because it's only from Maricopa County.
Yep, exactly. Here, 85051, this is a declining case rate, very much in a good position there. 85035, this is in a red area. However, you can see it's red from last week. There's a good chance that this one calculates into yellow next week. I don't know if it's going to happen, but it might. 85210, this one's already yellow. And it's a very much a declining case rates and percent positivities. So good job for them. 85008, this is a red district, higher percent positivity. It was yellow last week, and it has been recalculated into red. It looks like it's just a percent positivity of about 13% that caused that. And again, this is right next to ASU. So of course, this one was always going to recalculate into red. It's connected to ASU.
Yeah. We probably have time for one more zip code.
Okay, so let's pick 85053. I may have already done that one, but this is going to be it. So 85053, this is a declining case rate and percent positivity, so definitely in a good position. So I'm just going to zoom out so everyone can see where they might be living. If you live in Sun City or this area of Peoria, you're in a minimal zip code. If you're in the western side of Phoenix, there's a chance you're in a substantial, still a substantial zip code. But for the most part, almost everyone in the valley right now is within minimal, or excuse me, moderate. My apologies,
moderate category. Yeah, we have a few in minimal, which is great news. Okay, so real quickly, Cindy's asking, are these deeper dives on that same schools link from the AZDHS homepage? This is Maricopa County.
Oh, no, yes, it's from Maricopa County. It's not the AZDHS. Sorry, I didn't understand the question.
No, that's okay. So that's where you can find this. Josh, will you put up that address one more time for her so she can find that? It is azhealth.gov/schools COVID-19. But we have one that's even more specific. That's the schools dashboard one.
Let me see if I just grab it, make sure producer Josh has the right one.
Yeah. So hang tight with that. That is updated every Thursday. So here's all the places you guys will want to check if you got here late, rewind and watch this, or if you want to check on your own. When you're in Maricopa County, you can go to this site, maricopa.gov/schools dashboard. That's where you're going to find the zip code. That's where you're going to find the school districts, and that's where you're going to find the cities for Maricopa County. Then you're also going to want to check your counties. We went over all this. If you missed any of it, And you can see how the county overall looks. So you can look at 3 different places to see how your specific neighborhood looks. Stephen writes, someone is a 10-key master. That's for sure, Stephen. I could hear Garrett typing away there as well. We are impressed, not only with your graphs, but how fast you can type. We love it.
If I couldn't do 10-key, I'd be in a different profession at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Ange writes, thank you for the updates. Ange, thanks for watching. Thanks for joining us on here. Kristen writes, thank you guys so much. You guys are the best. That's why we want to update you all the time. Keep you and your family safe. We want to just provide you the information, the data, where to find it, what to look up so that you can check on your neighborhoods and take the best care for yourself and your family. You know their health and their lifestyle best. We're just here to help guide you to the right numbers that you can trust. We're going to send it out from here. You can find Garrett at Garrett_Archer on Twitter. I'm at Katie Raml on Twitter. You can also catch me on Facebook at News from Katie. I had to think there for a second. Facebook.com/News from Katie. The very latest reporting on coronavirus and all the other news of the day coming up in our newscast at 4, 5, 6, and 10 p.m. And don't forget, we just added a 9 p.m. newscast over on CW61. If you're going to go to bed early, you can join us there for that quick half-hour newscast at 9 p.m. as well. Be safe out there, everybody.